Check the time and adjust your dial. It's time for the GZ Chop Shop Podcast, the best podcast by gamers for gamers. Each week, we give you the rundown of all the happenings in the gaming world, news updates, reviews, and much more. We do all the research so you don't have to. And if you still want more after the show, we got you covered. Check out our website at thegzchopshop.com for all of our latest content. Now keep your ears locked because it's time for the GZ Chop Shop. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GZ Chop Shop. We've got an amazing episode lined up for you this week. We are going to be talking about gaming scholarships now that esports is still continuing to be on the rise. We're also going to be talking about the PS5 stock issue in relation to the GPU shortage and semiconductor shortage, which has been pretty much affecting the world globally and several different industries. And we are going to talk about Apple versus Epic and that ongoing court battle, and pretty much what each side stands to lose, depending on how the court rules, if Apple wins or if Epic wins. So a really, really good episode today. So make sure you stay here because without further ado, we're going to get into it, kicking things off with gaming scholarships. 10 universities are officially making gaming scholarships a thing. I can't say that personally I'm surprised by this. With esports being the billion-dollar industry that it is now, things were pretty much heading in this direction. It was like it was only a matter of time, and I still have to chuckle at not even 10 years ago, you know, the news media was talking about like how bad gaming was and you know, oh, it causes violence and it corrupts the mind and blah 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 blah. And now you have all these universities across the country offering gaming scholarships to get kids into esports. Like, wow, what a big turn that has taken in a very short amount of time. Now, I'm just wondering here if the sudden tonal shift is 100% due to monetary gain, or they actually see, you know, some potential, because there's some people out there that still don't believe, you know, gaming is a sport. They don't, you know, because they're thinking like, you know, oh, since the Greek days, everything's been a physical thing. So a lot of people still don't see it as sports. So, you know, for esports to be as popular as it is, I would love to hear your guys' opinion on, like, do you feel this is a good move in the right direction, or do you feel that it's just all monetary thing? Like, will it plateau out and then all of a sudden gaming will go back to being somewhat ridiculed once there's no money to be made or as much money to be made? Or do you feel like this is pretty much a new era we're stepping into? Because that's a big thing. Colleges offering this, that's pretty big. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Like, personally, I'm totally for it.
Well, if you remember the article that I wrote back a few months ago about how esports started and what it's become, this is not a surprise to me. We have, you know, people, they did ridicule gaming for decades, and especially, I think it really peaked about 10 years ago or so, up until the early 2010 teens. And I think part of the reason that kind of dwindled down was gaming becoming profitable, monetary gain, and people understanding that it's popular, it's competitive, and to have something to qualify as a sport, you have to have competition. Well, these colleges are, you know, they're starting to see the monetary gain in this, and I do think that's a really big part of that decision making. But, you know, not only that, but really this is opening up a huge door for people to have more opportunities to get into colleges, and I think that's just an amazing thing. You can't deny how popular gaming is and the impact it has on the world anymore, especially when you do have esports competitions out there, and how huge esports is, and like all the games that go into it. So I'm really excited to see how many more colleges are going to start picking this up in the near future, and I know they're going to, but I'm really excited to see how fast this picks up.
Now, I am curious to which colleges would pick it up, because do you think colleges like Penn State or Howard University or, you know, some of these top Ivy League schools would pick up gaming scholarships? Do you think they would take it seriously? Like some of these older, more, you know, established colleges, because I still feel like there would be some combativeness to that.
Not for a while. I think they'd be the last ones to pick it up. But you know, like colleges like UC Irvine, that's not a small college.
Yeah.
No, I think the reason they're picking this up is because their application rates are dropping, so they need people to come in. A lot of people are realizing college is a fucking waste of time. Like, oh, you're going into 10, 20, 30 years of debt just for a fucking piece of paper that you're probably not going to get a career in. People are realizing, like, I could learn everything from YouTube and have some practical knowledge in what I want to do. So what's the point of going to college when I can work for a company on my time and actually like get experience instead of going to school where I'll get school experience, but then you go apply for the job and they're like, oh, you need 2 years of experience to apply at all.
I wouldn't say college is a complete waste of time. I'd say that if you are wanting to go out there and utilize college, have a good career and make a real impact on the world. I would say
not majority. I'd say 50-50. It's either going to be a complete waste of time or an actual thing you need. Like doctors, lawyers, and all that. Yeah, go to fucking college.
Well, that was my point is STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Those are the the 4 big ones that going to college reaps the biggest benefits, which that does not mean it doesn't come with its own like debt issues. I'm lucky because I'm a veteran and I got my college paid for. And that's
but how many people are that lucky?
Exactly. You have to get a scholarship, which isn't easy, but you know, it takes a lot of work. But even if you work your ass off through middle school and high school, you're not guaranteed a scholarship, maybe a half scholarship or nothing. And then you're competing against, you know, people who are just simply rich and they can get in just because they have money.
Yeah. So basically people that would be in debt and no money to these schools are going, I don't want to be there. Why don't I just take what I can right now because I have a computer. I can work at home right now. Why don't I do that instead of apply for college? Go take an online course because online courses don't really work for a lot of people. And figure it out on my own.
I couldn't do them.
Yeah, exactly. Which is a lot better to do instead of go to college for probably most people, I would say. Because a lot of people, like, if they're not gonna go to college and then you take all these like general ed courses and succeed in them, because a lot of people are like, no, I want to focus on audio production. I'm not gonna go into a mathematics class and be like, okay, I gotta get an A on this. They're like, I'm just gonna fucking pass because all I care about is audio production 101, everything under that. All this general ed bullshit, I really don't care.
I think that's something we're gonna see with people that are extremely good at competitive games. I don't know if you ever watched the actual Overwatch League esports match, but they are freaking intense. They're insanely intense.
Brings me to a question.
Another level.
That brings me to a question. What is going to be the criteria to determine these scholarships? Like
3.0 KD. You have to have
and that's what I'm saying. Like,
it's not going to be like that.
It's got to be something like that where, like, because in gaming,
a lot of these games are team effort games.
You have stats though.
Stats, but KD doesn't really matter.
The team will look at your stats and be like, well, you're good here, you're good here. We'll give you a tryout. You'll try out with our team. We'll play a few games together against other teams. And then we'll see if we like you, we'll accept you. If we don't, well, too bad.
And this is where, as much as I love gaming, I would say it's probably going to be on the downside of this being a scholarship thing. It's probably going to be far more stressful than and I'm not trying to discredit anyone who does actual physical sports. I'm not trying to say it's not as stressful, but it's already been proven that mental stress is more stressful than physical stress. Mental stress literally wears on your body, not only mentally, but physically as well. So I'm wondering, you know, like with tryouts, sports tryouts, it's visually apparent what you're capable of. People just look and go, you got it, you're in, but with gaming, there's so many different factors at play. I know we're talking stats, but there's also talks about your intricate knowledge of said game, and what kind of scholarships they're offering, because there's a whole bunch of different ones. They could do team-based, they could do fighting, they could, who knows, as popular speedrunning could be, that could be a thing. It's becoming its own art form. There's so many different directions they could go. So it's like, what is the standard? Who is determining these standards? And what kind of stress is that going to put on the next generation of gamers? Because the only other downside I can see to this is how we were talking, like a lot of people, they're not going to college anymore. One, because they can't afford it. Two, because, I would say, like, there's three reasons. One, a lot of majority, they can't afford to go to college. Two, some people don't feel a piece of paper should determine their worth to society, and they actually do better without a piece of paper determining their worth to society. And, with that in mind, is gaming going to become another one of those things where it's like, to be considered a gamer, are we going to get to an era where it's like, well, did you go to college for that? To be a gamer?
I think my biggest concern.
Need to go to college for that?
I think my biggest concern with everything would be the fact that how long is that stigma of, oh, do you play a sport? Yeah, I'm an esports gamer. Oh, that's not a real sport. How long is that stigma going to hold around? Like, yeah, they're getting scholarships and everything like that. But when, you're talking to somebody and they're like, oh yeah, I'm a football player, I'm a baseball player. And you're just like, oh yeah, I'm an esports. Mm-hmm. Like, how long is that stigma going to last? And how rough are those people going to have it?
I would say probably, I think forever. Realistically, until it's accepted globally, which could be 10 years or 20 years from now, until it is, yes, esports is on ESPN and everything, but honestly, until our generation is probably old and gray and we're on our way out, after that, then it'll probably be accepted, because even among our generation, there are people who are like, gaming is not a sport. Even those who are gamers, they're like, I'm a gamer, and it's not a sport. My best friend, he feels that way. He loves sports. He loves football. He loves basketball. He keeps up with it. And he's an avid gamer, loves video games. We've gamed together for like the last 20 years. And even he says, yeah, video games is not a sport. I don't really think it should be considered a sport. So even among, our, I guess you could say, gaming heritage, we're, there's like half of us who are kind of like,
I think in the future we're gonna have to define the term sport when it comes to gaming and all that. Like we have esports, which is it's a sport in its own sense that it has rules. It's put in a competition.
It's a competition, yeah.
Yeah, there's standards. Yeah. There's standards to that.
There's drug tests,
like sports, but I can understand, if any of us, I played football in high school, and I understand, there's a lot that goes into practice, training, and all that. Same could go for gaming, but I feel like, after a day of gaming, I'm more like, all right, I want to walk out and actually do something physical, while a day of training in football, I'm like, I just want to lay the fuck down and sleep.
Yeah, and from that perspective, I can understand, because that's probably where a lot of problems are going to come in, is, people are going to, those who feel they've sacrificed their free time, they've done marathons and they've done a lot of this physical training to get to this point, which, like I say, I definitely would not take anything away from anyone who, puts themselves through that, because that's not easy. Not everyone can run a 5K or do suicide runs, or,
I think, the majority problem would be, it's the health problems that can come from long-term gaming. You're gaming for 12 hours. Are you actually gonna get up, walk around? There's times when, even if I'm overweight and I know I gotta work out and do something physical, because this isn't healthy. So if there's someone that's out there doing esports for a living and they die of a heart attack in the middle of a competition because they never decided to get up and do something physical, what's that going to do for the sport?
I think it comes down more to like personal, principles and stuff. Because me and Tachi, we game
too, though.
Huh?
when we said something like that for gaming, like there's a certain health, physical level you have to be to game, because once it starts being detrimental to your health, even in sports, like, you know, you can't run anymore because you fucked up your knee, you can't play. So are we gonna have that for esports? Like, hey, you're fucked up, you can't play, because even though you can play the game normally, health wise it's more detrimental to you than it is.
I'm sure it's going to come with its own, you know, issues. But like, you know, me and Itachi, we game a lot, but we're both also very active. So it kind of comes down to personal principles. I do think there should be, as we see more and more colleges accept this as a way to get into school and have at least part of school paid for. And even with esports, I do think there needs to be a line that says, okay, you do need to be X amount of healthy. You know, not just like, oh, you have a little bit of high blood pressure or something like that. But if you have a couple, 2 or 3 disease processes that are most likely due to a certain lifestyle because of so much gaming, I do think there should be a line drawn that it says you have to be X healthy to be able to play. You have to show that you take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Just because, just like you guys were saying with any other sport, you know, gaming, sitting in one spot for hours can be detrimental. So definitely need some sort of standard.
Carah would know.
Yeah.
She completed a feat none of us have.
Yeah, I mean, my kids are growing up. My kids are growing up and they love gaming, but I also instill into them like school first. You have to be active, and then when you have free time, then you can play games.
Yeah. And
that's just something that like I don't budge from.
So I feel that this will become I feel as we do pretty well in predicting some future events. I feel within the next 5 years, this will be something that is addressed. Right now, I am going to say that money is kind of the focus. Colleges are losing money, so they're looking for ways to bring that money back. Mm-hmm. Gaming is probably their salvation because it's the only industry that right now did not suffer, but actually benefited from.
I wouldn't say their salvation.
The COVID life.
It could be a wild card that can help them out a lot.
I would, maybe a couple years ago I would say it a wild card, but it's pretty guaranteed now.
I don't know about that, because not everybody's gonna apply like, oh, I could go to college for gaming, because they're still gonna have that other factors of like, will it be enough? Will I be in debt after it? Do I want to go into the career that they allow for the scholarship?
I don't think we'll ever see a degree that's gaming specific. I think we'll see people that go into these colleges with that. It'd be like an extracurricular activity.
If we treat it like sports, they don't tell you to go for a degree that's difficult. They tell you to go for something easy like communications or some minor degree. Right. So they're probably going to do the same thing, but we can all agree that some people would actually, even right now, since we all have this free time, would think about, do I want, like, even though I got the scholarship to go to college, do I want to go for the scholarship or for the degree they offer me the scholarship for? Even though it's gaming, do I want to go for communications when, the person's really passionate about audio production or something that can actually, they want to do?
Well, you're not usually limited in what you can choose from. And I think most people that are going to take scholarships like these would be most likely to go into one of the 4 categories I mentioned earlier, especially technology, mathematics, and engineering, because they're going to want to do something with audio, with tech, with graphic design, stuff like that. And we are in a world now where we need more and more of those kinds of people.
But those degrees cost more and more. They're the STEM ones are the most expensive ones. So is it like I said, communications, it's an easy degree and it's cheap. Your scholarship can pay it in full. Something like that, yeah, I'll go for that. Scholarship pays in full. Maybe after all that, I'll go back and actually get the higher ones, because now I'm set up right. I have a degree, I can get a job, or at least I have a career in gaming or some form or way. Maybe. But after that, then it's just going to fall off and be like, well, I already have a career here. I've already made it here. I still have the piece of paper here. Why would I go further if I don't have to?
I feel the simplest solution to solve all of this is just make content creation an official title. Just give a degree in content creator, because then they can pick their classes and match what they're doing.
That would be a broad subject, kind of like, what is it? Like a fucking... I can't think of the fucking word right now.
Are you gonna make it up? He's gonna make it up, and then we'll have to figure it out.
like, was it language arts?
Yeah, because that's pretty diverse.
Yo,
it's super broad.
Hold up. Let's talk about the dumb college courses that we have. We have communications. I wanted language arts, probably some humanities courses, like where you study like religion and all that. Like, where can you get a career in that?
Oh, it begins with a T. I can't remember what it's called when you study religion.
That one, but you know which one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to be a theologian, priest, or a pastor?
I guess
that's where most of those people go. And
I think it's theology.
Honestly, like
is it theology?
Theology. I don't think it's theology. Theology, I think they go more in depth, and that degree you could go to school and teach that. Like, people will specifically take that. It's like humanities or something. I can't fuck. It starts with human. It's something like that. And I can't remember it for the life of me, because you're studying culture, religion. You're studying everything human. God.
Well, but there's something that I think it is very true that a lot of people don't agree with, but I do feel it's very true. If you go to college and you pick something, no matter how much money you make or don't make, if you choose something that you're actually passionate about and actually want to do, you'll do fine and you'll be happy. And I think that's the only thing that matters. And some people do go to college and they realize, once they get into the technicalities of whatever field they thought that they were really passionate about, they might go, maybe this isn't for me, but I've learned these other things, and I think now I really have a better understanding about what I really want. But as long as you're doing the thing that you truly enjoy, the money will come. You may not be rich, but you will be happy.
I do feel if for waylaying just a little bit here, I do agree with that thought process. I feel a lot of people wind up in the unhappy situations is because they're trying to go with the motions of the society norms, because right now college connects to corporate connects to
I don't want to hear society norms when we have TikTokers being the norm.
but societal norms change, so it's just like eventually I hate to say it, but I do feel that at some point it'll be a phase for that way for gaming. Gaming will
also, no shame to TikTokers. If you're doing that and making money, congratulations. I don't understand it.
Do your thing. But at some point,
enjoy it though.
Gaming scholarships will be up there with someone who got a scholarship because they were a straight A student, and you'll have someone who gets a scholarship because they have the reflexes of a cat.
Well, and usually that kind of goes back to something I've said before. I think it was a couple podcasts ago. When you're going through life, whatever tools you have in your toolbox to be successful, I won't hate on that, and it kind of like what you just said, like if you're a TikToker or Instagrammer and you make a crap load of money off that, good for you, man. Like, I don't hate, just whatever tools you have in your toolbox, find something you're good at.
Some people have a hammer, some people have a screwdriver.
That you enjoy. But even that itself comes with its own mental health problems that can really weigh on you.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's something else that's kind of helped the gaming, society, I guess, gaming world, is definitely the last several years, mental health has started to become something that's taken more seriously. And I think because of that, I'm not saying it's perfect, but it has been starting to be taken more serious. There's more awareness out there.
Yeah, people are talking about it more.
And our generation is the one that has been able to bring it to light more. And then the generation behind us, in front of us? Would it be in front of us? After us, there has been a huge push for them. So the older generations don't have as much they don't have as much pull and say so on what is and isn't true, or their opinions don't quite matter as much. And honestly, that's a fucking good thing.
Now, I don't want to discredit. I'm going to be that odd guy right now. Not to sound cynical, but do you feel that the reason it's been brought more awareness is still as virtuous as when it started?
No.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like, all of a sudden, everybody is, a mental health expert. Some people use it as an excuse
to be an asshole.
I think the big ones are depression and anxiety. Those are the two that are actually being taken more seriously, and awareness has helped those two things. If I went out of my way and told someone at work I was bipolar, I would automatically be deemed as crazy, because when people think bipolar, they think crazy. They don't think depression and then manic. They think crazy.
Yeah.
Or, stuff like that. That stuff, unfortunately, still has a huge stigma attached to it.
Yeah.
Well, it's because we don't understand it still. Like, to this day, we don't understand it at all. We have theories, we have ways of helping, but we don't have true understanding of all that. But because overall, everyone's different. Everyone's different.
Like, and you can really only truly understand it if you go through it, too. Like, you can read books on it and stuff.
You have a family member that goes through it, and you make an effort to be helpful and understand where they're coming from.
And even then, you won't fully understand it unless you go through it. Like, you'll have an understanding,
there is no
but
full understanding of someone else's depression. It's really your own. Mm-hmm. But you at least have like some tools you develop to help this person. Like, mine is like here. This one is I don't know, but I know there's these 3 things that all common can at least help that person a little bit.
Well, and my point of the comment about mental health was the reason I think it kind of helped negate a little bit the stigma on gaming, not completely, but just a little bit, is, we've had all this violence in our country it's getting worse and worse and worse with like random shooters and stuff. And I'm not saying this as a cop-out at all. It's not an excuse, but all of these people that do this shit have serious mental health problems. Like, no normal person does this stuff.
We gotta also question, like, is it social media that brings it out too?
Oh, because I'm sure it plays a role.
Like, people can go on Twitter and then get fucking heated of something they read because they don't understand, like, this technically isn't real. It's just someone maybe trying to get you angry.
Well, and again, like, no normal person would do that. But ultimately, my point was how, like I said, how that might be showing gaming in a new light, because there was a good, like a time period where people would blame video games for violence versus mental health. And I think that in its own way, it did help the gaming world and how it's perceived, and it helped it grow more. In that light, I'm not saying it did all the work, but it did give it room to grow more. And now we're at a point where gamers can go out, they can compete, they can move up and get picked for teams, and we're watching, competitive esports take off.
Yeah.
So I do think it played a role.
So, pretty much just a final thought before we move on. Don't want to go in a rabbit hole, because this could go into very many branching rabbit holes here. So,
dog, this is half our podcast already in this one fucking segment.
Yeah. So, gaming scholarships, esports, I think we pretty much are all in agreement. It's a good thing, and it could probably be positive for the future.
I really look forward to where it's going. I think it's a good start. It's not going to be perfect for a while, but it's a good start.
Yeah, it'll take some time to work out the kinks. But moving on. All right. So next up, PS5 stock is pretty much still suffering. For anyone who doesn't know, who hasn't been keeping up, or maybe you have your kid who's asking you for a PS5 and you're just like, okay, I'll just go to the store and get one. And you're wondering, oh no, why is it not on the store shelves? Sony is still struggling to keep up supply and demand. And there's 2 reasons affecting that right now. If anyone doesn't know, we are in a global semiconductor shortage. And this, a lot of people are like, oh, well, how does that affect me? This actually has been affecting the car market, television market.
What is the thingy you just said?
Oh, the global. Okay, so
I have no idea. You just said a bunch of words that sounded like gibberish to me. So please,
to break elaborate. It down, critical parts are not being made right now. They can't keep up. So in the case of like we were talking about, like graphics cards, think like AMD chips. They cannot keep up with the demand thanks to COVID. So a lot of factories were shut down. So now the factories are reopening, but the demand was still there. Even more so because people were relying on doing things remotely, that the demand was increasing, but the supply couldn't keep up because they were sold out before more could be made. So right now there's a shortage.
Gotta thank the fucking scalpers that buy like all the fucking PS5s and try to make a profit of it. Just so you know, the world thinks you're fucking scumbags, and I hope I see you in hell because I got a pineapple waiting for you.
Well, and they are a problem, but they're not a problem that's big enough to impact sales overall. Like, not alone.
It's not just them. Because if you do the scalper,
but they still suck.
It's a joint effort between scalping and the regular, consumer and crypto miners and companies, because companies need to order in bulk. So it's a combined effort right now.
I know, but I still hate scalpers to the point if I see you scalping at PS5s, I will stab you on the street.
The scalpers are the worst because they're the ones that create.
This is not a threat. This is a promise.
Well, there's the scalpers, and then there's people buying up all kinds of different graphics cards and any electronics that they can get on to help them mine Bitcoin. But fortunately, at least right now, Bitcoin isn't the one being looked at. It's one of the few that you can actually mine unlimited. The ones being looked at right now are not. You can't mine them. What's there is there, and if it goes up or down, that's just how it is. And that's a good thing right now for graphics cards.
Yeah.
But if you're also going to bring up cryptocurrencies, you got to think about Elon Musk, who one tweet can fuck an entire cryptocurrency.
Yeah. And just to elaborate a little bit more on Carah's question, to be very specific, the semiconductor shortage is affecting processor chips. So pretty much all cars today are smart cars, so they need a processor chip pretty much to run, especially since cars are going more electronic than just mechanical parts. This really affects that mainstream line. All televisions, they use a processor. They're smart TVs. So
hello, speaking of cars, I have one question. Has anybody ever here driven a manual?
I have.
No.
Don't you catch yourself sometimes when you drive your automatic holding your shift?
Gear shift?
Logan does that.
Yeah, like you want it, like you feel like I wish it was automatic. I wish it was manual right now because it's just fun. Like
Logan will drive his truck and then he'll go, because his truck is manual, and then he'll go and drive the car, and then he'll keep trying to push the clutch. He's like, "There's no clutch."
Yeah,
I would love to own a manual car just for that, just to get that manual feeling out of my system.
I'm not going down that rabbit hole.
I didn't even drive a manual for that long, and then it stuck with me. It's stuck with me.
It's an addicting fun time because you're just like, even if you're driving like a shitty little beater,
a tuna can.
But
anyway, back to superconductors,
back to superconductors,
dildos, whatever.
But yeah, they that's pretty much what it is. So like all your the major computer parts are shorting, and since obviously consoles use processors, they need this. It's essential. It's their lifeline. And Sony pretty much has the newest versions. They were working with AMD, but AMD can't keep up, so they haven't been able to make any. It's really affecting their supply, and it doesn't help that the demand was so high for some reason. 2020, like we've always, we've said through the show, 2020 has been a fantastic year for gaming. At the same time, it has been a horrendous year for technology. It's like the worst side of both, because it's like
millions and millions of people staying home with nothing to do. They're gonna pick up a console, they're gonna pick up a computer, they're gonna pick up something to do at home, since most like you'll get the alert like, oh yeah, we're closing down for like the next year. They're like, oh, PS5 time.
What was it? What was the other thing that you said was affecting the sales?
Like for the PlayStation?
Yeah.
So yeah, they got their processor sales. There was something else. I don't think it was the GPU. I know their shares have dropped. Their shares have dropped about 8% because actually, as we're coming out of the shutdown life of COVID, people are actually going out again. So their user base has actually dropped down. God. I think from like 114 million to like 104 million.
The more and more California opens up, the more and more people are out, and I'm like, do you really need to be out here?
Yeah,
kind of liked it better when everyone was like just inside, away from me.
Yeah.
I felt like more free, like I could go anywhere and like there wasn't that many people, and I was really happy.
Evidently, my county took the mask thingy away, so people are going out without their mask and shit now.
And like I'm since I'm door dashing, I deliver, and the Blackbird Diner here, I'm like, damn, there's a lot of people. I grabbed the order and I asked one of the hostess like, hey, how long's the wait time here? They're like, hour and a half. And I look out, and I'm like, these motherfuckers are gonna wait an hour and a half for a fucking table?
I don't.
How boring.
If it's more than 30 minutes, I'm not waiting.
How boring and horrible is your life that you wait an hour and a half for a fucking table anywhere? I don't care where it is. Anywhere.
If I can't make I was gonna say appointment. If I can't make a reservation,
he wants to make an appointment
for my food. Very serious. If I can't make a reservation, if it's not the kind of place that will let me make a reservation, I do the drive-by. Like I'm like, how many people there? Nope. In-N-Out Burger it is. All right.
Yeah. Oh, fuck In-N-Out, man. That's an even longest line too. Like fucking 45-minute line of cars, and you're like, y'all motherfuckers really waiting for this burger? I mean, nope.
There was a lot of people in, and I don't think I've ever gone to an In-N-Out and there wasn't a line.
Yeah.
Never had In-N-Out.
I don't know why there's a big ass line for a mediocre burger still.
It's just like Chick-fil-A.
I love their hamburgers.
Apparently your fault for long lines of mediocre burgers.
Anyway. Man. This sucks that they're short right now and they can't keep up, but with all the way the world has been for this last year, it makes sense that we're going to go through stages of this. On top of the superconductor shortage, did you know we were in a ketchup shortage?
That's a thing?
Yeah, Heinz Ketchup was not making enough ketchup because their factories were closed because of COVID. So there's a bunch of other ketchup companies trying to come up and, supply the demand.
Well then.
It's fucking insane how the world is.
We're going to start seeing some shifts.
Great. Double the power, greater the fall.
Yeah, we're going to start seeing some shifts. But to answer Warner's question earlier from what else was affecting their sales, obviously, we already know the scalpers and all that. But in some positive news, the Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Jim Ryan said that they're going to be ramping up production over the summer. So he said, we're working as hard as we can to ameliorate that situation. We see production ramping over the summer and certainly into the second half of the year. And we would hope to see some sort of return.
We're going to open up again. We're no longer operating on 5 factories.
I am jealous of the people who have gotten their hand on a PS5.
7.8 million people.
That's a lot of people.
I say 7.8 million people, but some of those people doubled up or tripled up. But
yeah, it's not uncommon to have more than one of the same console in a household now.
So this makes me think. So when I was reading up on, they said they're going to ramp up the production over summer. I said, well, in my head, I was like, okay, I'm just going to go on a whim here and say some of their factories were closed. It already said in Japan they had closed some of the factories, said they couldn't meet up with the demand. However, if they're short on parts, I don't see how ramping up production over the summer is going to fix anything. And even their, financial advice, their financial head, I think his name is Hiroki Totoki. I think his name. I like his name.
Hold up. I'm sorry.
Hiroki Totoki.
Hiroki Totoki.
Their chief financial officer.
Why does that tickle the funny bone?
He was about to just start naming like big anime characters.
I'm gonna pull the worders. If I don't remember the name, you're getting an anime name.
Yami Hero. Just to make
it's the type of guy that'll be like, oh, his name is Szechuan Teriyaki.
Oh my god.
But his statement is something a lot of people have been saying, and he was saying he doesn't think so. A lot of the financial analysts, from like Bloomberg and stuff, they're like, hey, aren't you afraid that the demand's going to go down? People are going back outside. Nobody's going to really be playing video games. And he's like, no, I don't think the demand is going to drop. The problem is going to be that our supply won't be able to catch up with the demand even through 2022, because so fun fact, a lot of people don't realize it takes time to make these microchips. The parts are so tiny that it takes a lot of time. Even with the machinery, it takes time to build these delicate parts. So it's not like, they could just reopen the factory and then boom, 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 boom.
Oh, just smash it together. It's fine.
Yeah, these parts don't just fall from the sky. There's raw materials that have to be refined and tested and then pieced together. And, that includes shipments from, around the world, all the partners. And it's a whole intricate process that I think a lot of people, the scalpers are aware of. They know that it's going to take Sony way too long to catch up. So that's why they're doing what they're doing. And for everyone else who's like, well, why can't I just go to the store and get a PlayStation? It's like, well, stores were closed, parts weren't being made. Those parts weren't being made, meaning PlayStations can't be made, which means they probably are going to change not the external, but the internal design of the system to compensate, which makes me wonder.
Get a new version of it next year.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm like, it's not exactly going to be like the neck. Oh, it's going to be a PlayStation Slim, but I feel like it's kind of like what I said. I was like, look, if you just wait, a new version is going to come out. Technically, this would be a new version.
Yeah, they would have to adjust to the situation.
Yeah, so they're going to adjust. That means they're going to probably have to find a new supplier. They're going to go through new part. I'm just worried, like, how is this going to affect the promised performance? Because you can't go backwards. Nobody's paying to go backwards except maybe in backwards compatibility. You got to keep it at what it is or better to justify the price. If they lower the price, even then I still wouldn't think it would be justified, because it's like, then I might as well stick with my PlayStation 4 or, just not purchase it until you get caught up.
I don't think that would be an issue, because a lot of gamers, their eyes, like, they're too keen to what they're getting and what they're playing, and too critical, more and more critical these days of the products they receive, whether it's a console or a game. So if they ever try to do, I don't think they would, because they wouldn't want to hurt their reputation. And people, they'll notice. They will notice.
Oh yeah,
they would be a lot of definitely under the magnifying glass.
Exactly. I was just saying, we got our experts with magnifying glasses. All they do is go online, they find this spec is worse than this spec.
Especially Sony with how good they're doing right now.
What would we do without them?
This is probably be happy. To an extent, they're a necessary evil.
They are.
They're a necessary evil, because they call the companies out when they try to get over on you by making shit cheaper, making it for cheaper, and then charging for more. So I feel like, if anything, the one thing that definitely is going to happen, more people are going to gravitate to PC gaming for sure.
I doubt it.
Well, the only reason I say more people are going to gravitate to PC gaming is because if you make it too difficult to get your hands on consoles, and I still wouldn't be surprised if this is a market ploy by Sony to and guarantee their sales, make people go into a panic, FOMO. They're like, oh my gosh, because right now they're like, oh, we might not have PlayStations until
kind of like how
2022.
Kind of like how the gas crisis always seems to conveniently happen.
Especially right now with the pipeline hack. Yeah. But what I was going to say, Itachi, is like, as you said, more and more people are going out. So that means like a PC is like a pretty big commitment. It's not as simple as turning it on and playing a game. You have to turn it on and actually like pick, load, and do all that shit. While PlayStation, it is literally just on,
plug and
already
go.
Playing. Yeah. So, like as you said, people are already leaving their house. Well, why the fuck would they anyway? Fuck them. But you know, they got to have like, oh well, I only have 30 minutes right now. I'm gonna play, you know, Ratchet and Clank. You know, just boop.
Yeah, that is true.
Wow.
Yeah, if you're a PC
I'm gonna turn
gamer,
on my PC.
Turn on my monitor. Turn on my PC.
Log in. Load up. All right. Activate this. All right. Here we go. Let's go.
And that is true. Like, you know, playing PC games is a commitment and very easy to get distracted unless you have a 100% gaming only dedicated PC, which
even
I feel
then
is
you
like,
have YouTube running on the side, but like,
yeah. And I feel even like only like your dedicated gamers have a purely gaming dedicated PC. Even
I'm
Warner
looking
says
around and
avid as
realize
he
how
is.
fucking spoiled I am right now.
He's like looking around at his setup like, oof.
I have like top tier fucking parts and like 3 monitors. And
he has 3 monitors, one for the podcast, one for porn, and one for Netflix.
You know what?
I have hockey going on this other one, watching the
All
NFL.
right, you lost
NFL,
respect.
NHL Stanley Cup.
You lost
playoffs.
respect.
You know what? I pat myself on the back. I have the lowest tier PC in this group. And I probably
I don't think you should pat yourself on the back for that.
I pat myself on the back because of what I've accomplished.
I think right now you should start like, please people, go on Patreon and buy our subscriptions so I can afford the better PC because I still
Is that what he sounds like? That's how you read his messages?
My 360 i5, I make it work.
Yo, Itachi's lucky to get 60 FPS on Apex Legends.
And please get
I
on
make it work, okay? Running video editing software, podcast editing.
For real, man. If you guys love the podcast, love the content, love what we do, and want to support us to do better and greater things, man, go to Patreon. Buy the $1 subscription. I think is our cheapest one. I don't know. I'm not a Patreon. $2.
Yeah.
You also get to see the video. You get to see the video of the podcast, so you get to see all the weird faces that we make at each other.
Dark, yep.
You can see our after dark is really funny and intense right now because this last one we did was fun as hell.
I got opened up to a whole new world of the boys, so definitely.
That was
Carah is finally one of the boys.
Official initiation.
Carah is one of the boys. She knows our dirty secrets.
She's still here.
Yep. She's stuck
She
it out.
can't go anywhere. She's the face. She's the face of GZ.
I can be the face, but I don't have to be here.
Her whole family's about to start wearing that merc. Have you seen the pictures?
It's just that'll be family photos, right? That's family photos.
Family
right
photos. Gamma Games.
Patreon. Help us on Patreon. Support us there, or just listen, spread the word out, retweet us, fucking share. I don't know. Do something simple
this
like take your break. Hey guys, there's this podcast here by 4 idiots.
This podcast is sponsored by Poddex, which is what we tried out on the GZ After Dark, and we didn't know what to expect. And
it was
pretty good.
It was a lot of fun with some interesting moments.
And I've been
At
looking
the time,
at
I felt like we were playing Cards Against Humanity.
I was looking at some of their other cards and like some of the other decks, and I was like, wow, this is actually some really good stuff.
So what do they have? They have those kind that are a little more intense, and then they impersonal. But they have, I'm assuming, like professional ones, like more professional interview ones.
They've got one called the
friendlier
Hustle.
ones. Hustle.
Yep. Philosophy. WTF, True Crime.
I would like Philosophy. That one sounds fun.
Yeah. Foodie, Movie Night, Black History, Fitness and Health, Sports.
I think 3 of us would fail that one.
Sports?
No, he was talking about Black History. But they've got
Carah might actually graduate that because she's in Florida and there's a lot of Black History.
Don't go there. Don't go there. Denied.
All right, and change the topics.
Next.
All right, our final main topic before we roll into everybody's favorite segments. Apple versus Epic. You know what? Before I even
why is this a main topic? We've been talking about this.
That's why it's the last topic because they're still going.
Escalating.
They're still going. It's
every
escalating.
week. It escalates.
It's been 3 weeks.
It's just hilarious now.
You know what's gonna happen? They're gonna be like, well, we're just here because we're killing time because it's COVID. There's no real big cases. By the way, Apple was always gonna win.
What's the
So here's my thing. Here's the thing. That might not be the case. Apple might not. And the main reason is because they've had such a, so the way their stuff is designed with the IAP, for anyone who doesn't know, that's in-app purchases, developers for a while have been, fussing about like how high that percentage cut has been. And even one of the executives at Apple was like, hey, maybe we should lower it from 30% to like at least like maybe 20%. 30%, that's a pretty huge cut. And apparently it seems like they need at least like $1 billion to keep the App Store running. Now, playing devil's advocate, I can totally understand Apple needing their cut because running the App Store is not a free venture. It's they got to pay the people that manage it
out there.
Yeah, they got to pay the people that manage it. It's basically, they're charging rent, which is understandable. They're just charging rent for the space you use, adding to their server, which helps them make the server easy to run so that we have easy access to it. The thing is, Epic's roundabout argument, as much as I'm like, they just want more money, but it makes sense, and that might bite Apple in the ass, is the fact they're saying, well, why can't the people have the freedom to choose how they pay? And Epic, what really got the ball rolling was Epic made the option, like, how do you want to pay? Like, if you look on the, on Apple Insider, it's like, hey, if you pay through the Apple Store, it's $9.99. But if you use Apple Direct, it's $7.99. So it's I
don't think that's a big argument case, because that's like, okay, cool, you don't want to buy it from Apple, then it's a free market in a sense. There's no regulations regulating, like, they have to have that option. Like, if they don't want you to do that, they can easily take you off, because it's their market, it's their platform, it's their business. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be on their business. You don't have to work with them.
Which you would think Epic would just walk away. But don't forget, and I was talking to Warners about this, how Apple had recently changed their policy on allowing
how
advertisements.
How do they have the funds to go against Apple when they offer PlayStation $200 million?
So here's the thing. If they win, they would have those funds because they would be taking the cut, basically, that Apple is taking.
An extra 10%? What does that have to do? 30. So what? They get all 100%?
They would get 100%.
Apple still doesn't have to allow. Apple doesn't have to do anything to allow them to fucking have their game on their platform. They literally don't have to do any of that.
I mean, realistically, I think, Apple could, Apple didn't pick the fight. They pretty much did give them the boot. It was Epic who picked the fight, and now like they're digging into Apple, which is kind of like, everyone's airing out their dirty laundry. That's
taken out of that's just saying, like, it's taking part of, like, and as much as I know Apple's as much as I hate the fact that Apple kind of rips off their customers, they have a right to do that too. It's a business.
It is their platform.
It is right. It is their platform. So
I'm starting to wonder, like,
you can't
Epic
force someone.
Struggling.
You can't force, like, let's say movie theater. You can't force them to sell Coke.
I don't know why for a second I thought he meant like legit Coke.
Okay.
It's because that's usually where he goes.
Oh my god.
He chose a professional direction.
So movie theaters sell Pepsi. You can't force them to sell Coke.
Yeah.
I agree with Yuli though. Like I agree with Yuli, and I honestly feel like Epic to me is starting to look like someone who's getting really desperate with them trying to put their claws, like, how many lawsuits do they have right now with like multiple companies trying to get their claws into everything?
I think their biggest one is with Apple, but
biggest one's with Apple.
Yeah, and I think they have another one going right now too.
It's like can you not survive on your own? Is that what the issue is? Are you starting to realize you have too many free games and people can get a lot of those games
they spend like $16
that aren't free
million?
From other sources, that you're kind of not that great on your own? I had someone the other day try to argue with me that Epic is the best place to get games from, and I was like,
fuck off.
Change my mind right now. Change my mind.
Yeah.
Do they feel Microsoft is the best software company on earth? They sound like a Microsoft hugger.
They just felt like Epic was the best, and I was like, you feel that way, but explain to me why you feel that way. What is and they couldn't. They just felt that way, and I was like,
You know what?
You know nothing. It told me that the person knew absolutely nothing about the things we talk about, which is the behind the scenes, the hows and whys of things go on. Mm-hmm. And if you are going to seriously sit there and say Epic is better than Steam, you've lost your fucking mind.
We all use Steam here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we all use Epic Games?
I do use Epic Games, but the reason for that is there were a couple of games I really wanted to play that were good games, but for a while they were only available on Epic.
You know
now
what
that
I have
they're
the
available
Epic
on
launcher
Steam,
for?
I'm like, fuck, I want them on Steam.
You know what I have the Epic launcher for? The Unreal Engine. That's it. And the funny thing is,
no one uses it. No one uses it.
But here's
no
the funny thing, and nobody's bringing this up. Epic is pissed that Apple wants their cut. But if you use the Unreal Engine and you are marketing your game, it's almost the same exact cut. They say it right in the agreement. If you intend to sell this game, we will take X amount of cut. How are you any different from Apple then? You're literally fussing at Apple for doing exactly what you're doing. So this is what I'm saying. They just want 100% because then all their games will bring them 100%. The people using their engine brings them 100. They don't want to have to pay anyone. They want all income, no royalties, no external.
And
so they've been trying to
if you want to
this.
use someone's platform, you give them a cut.
Yeah, that's the thing. They want access to that market without paying them for said access.
Carah, do you use Epic?
I have it. I don't use it.
You don't have any games on it that you've paid for?
No. I've never bought games on it. I used it for the free games.
Is there a reason for it?
No, I just don't. There's no games on there that really pique my interest.
Hey, does anybody have Epic Games be like, your Epic Games is not on auto launch. Would you like to turn it off? I'm like, fuck you.
I haven't gotten a single game off the Epic Game Store.
They only have Hitman 3, and that's the one I really wanted it for.
Carah was part of that group that, like, when games became free, she helped get them up there. And then when they started charging again, she was like, and I'm out.
I was the same way.
Oh, yeah. When they do their, like, free games for, like, a month, like, I'll go on there.
Just for the free game of the month.
The first game I did that to was Destiny. When Destiny 2 rolled out and they started having those microtransactions, I was like, I'm done. The game's not fun anymore. I'm done. If you don't have to, like, actually earn anything and you can just pay to play, I'm out.
Look, Epic Games, here, we'll pull the Band-Aid off for you. You're not going to win.
They need to just stay in their lane and focus on their business model instead of trying to complain that their business model isn't being utilized by other companies.
If we're going to be completely honest, Epic's business model is... I can't throw away any chance of a sponsorship here with Epic.
Fortnite.
But Epic's business model is, hey, we copy you, but we don't pay you. Okay?
Meanwhile, Lord. Steam stays in its own lane.
Steam is untouchable.
Steam is just like...
But you don't hear them trying to go out of their way to complain or snatch up, mergers or partnerships. And I've never read anything about this, but I'm assuming that Steam has partnerships and deals with other gaming companies and consoles and all that stuff. And it's so subtle and chill that it doesn't cause problems.
Yeah. There's a reason a lot of indie developers immediately go to them over anyone else.
I feel like Steam isn't as greedy.
Steam? They get like 10% only, right?
Yeah. Steam long term.
PlayStation games, a lot of them come out a year or two after they've been released on PlayStation.
Once the exclusivity contract expires.
And it feels like Steam is just like, I'm cool with that because they don't care. Like, they know they're going to make money. Sony will get a cut, or whatever company made the game, they'll get a cut. But you never hear about Sony or Steam throwing a tantrum.
No, because Steam.
Not once have I ever heard about Steam throwing a tantrum.
Steam knows
they're mature. Epic is a toddler.
Exactly.
Well, that just shows how young Epic Games is.
Epic Games is trying to play in the big kids' playground, and they're trying to do it quick.
They're starting to get pushed around. They're trying to stand up for themselves, but they're not big enough.
You got the fucking big boys over there playing on the 6th grade gym. You're still right here in the 1st grade little playground trying to go down the slide.
Oh my god!
Merry-go-round, he gets pushed off. You're not big enough.
You got the OGs on the seesaw.
Here. Are we cool now? PlayStation's like, that's all you got? Get out of here.
Sit down.
Do you know who we are?
Camera since early 1900s. Get out of here,
bitch.
But yeah, they're 3 weeks in, still going. But I will say, this is my final thought: if Apple somehow does lose, we will definitely see a very big shift in the market. I would say
it's going to be fucked.
It would be. It's not going to be pretty, especially for Apple users, because they're going to need to make that money up somehow. And if Epic wins, you can best believe the developers are going to be like, okay, then I want all income directly to me, and Apple can't stop me now, because they wouldn't just change it for Epic. The lawsuit would mean they would have to change it across the board. They would have to make that available to everyone. So that means every developer out there.
Market.
Yeah, that means every developer out there using Apple's shop can be like, yeah, you can pay for it through Apple, but now you can pay me directly. I mean, even if
Apple might counter that, now you got to pay to download the app.
And I think that's what would have to happen for them to make up the money.
Like, oh, okay, well now you got to pay.
Yeah, there would be no more free apps. They would have to do away with it, because fortunately, we fuss about in-app purchases, but because of how Apple does it, it's actually more affordable to us right now, because the developers are technically paying the bigger cost. But if the developers don't have to pay Apple still needs that funds. So then, they're saying they don't think they would make the cost come to us. But let's be honest, money doesn't just come out of the sky. Someone's going to pay for it. If the developers don't need to pay Apple, so we have to pay to be.
It's what I said the other day. We're in the middle of, it's like we're at the peak
of a tech war.
And it may not even be the peak of a freaking tech gaming entertainment war right now. Mm-hmm. And at this point, I'm kicking back with my tea and my popcorn, and I'm just like, all right, this is fucking hilarious now. This is ridiculous.
Big shout out to Sailor Lion for dropping the article. Amazon slinging their money dick right now?
Oh, by MGM?
They buy MGM. Real quick thoughts on that. What do you guys think? I just want to know everyone's quick thought on Amazon buying MGM. Do you think they're going to make any changes, or is it going to stay the same and they just are expanding their portfolio?
Well, I kind of wonder if they're going to turn it into like, I wonder if they're going to turn it into like, kind of like how Stars and HBO are. Like, if you want to watch MGM,
it'll be like on Prime.
You have to pay for it.
I think that'll be a bigger backlash than in like, all right, we'll just make profit of all these MGM movies.
Carah, what do you think?
Amazon cares?
No, but they care about profit. They care about profit. It's more profitable to sell MGM production than it is to be like, oh, Amazon Prime.
I'm sorry, I like Carah's response. She was like, I didn't have to remember it. But you know what? Her response, though, is probably like how the majority of people are going to think about it. They're just going to be like, what's the difference? If you got Amazon Prime, you're covered. If you don't, well, now you probably have incentive to, if you like MGM. But
looking back at how Amazon started and what it's become today is absolutely impressively mind-blowing.
And you want to know a funny thing? Do we know if Jeff Bezos graduated college?
I don't think he did.
There's
actually quite a few millionaires right now
graduated college
in our peer group who dropped out of college. Not saying, hey, college is totally worthless. I'm just saying you don't need a piece of paper to determine your value. I had an argument with a friend.
I feel like that comes back to what I said earlier in the podcast. If you're passionate about something and you truly want to do that with your life,
it'll be fun for you.
It'll be fun for you. You'll love it, and it'll go in a direction if you stay at it.
Yeah.
So, and for these people, it just so happened to be they turn into millionaires.
He's just like two different shaped parts.
Here's the thing, and I'll say this right now. Look,
they just happened.
I don't mind doing what I love to do, but I kind of rather cry on a yacht than cry in my 1-bedroom apartment.
Well, also to be fair to War Nurse's point, there's that 5% luck. They had that luck. You put 1,000 people in the room.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's not 5, it's 1. It's 1% luck.
Well, yeah, you put 1,000 people in the room, like maybe one of them will become the millionaire. Everyone else is, we're pretty much going to have a normal
But also,
life.
sometimes burgers need flipping too.
So,
without them, we wouldn't get them.
Yeah. But that's okay because we're all going to be 4 millionaires, right? That's the goal here.
Carah's comment, Yuli's comment comes down to the point of this entire show today. No matter where you go, what store you walk into, how you get your food, respect the people that are doing the work. Because without them, it wouldn't exist, and your spoiled little ass wouldn't get to be running around, throwing your money everywhere, complaining about everything.
Talking to you, Karen. Yeah.
Respect the people who are doing the work.
Don't yell at your fucking...
I know who you are, Karen.
Don't yell at your waiters. Don't yell at Yuli when he's doing his best cooking.
Oh, no. If you yell at me and I'm cooking your food, I'm just not going to make your food.
I'm just not going to make your food.
Eat somewhere else. Eat somewhere else. I have the right to refuse service to you. You going to be mean to me?
That.
I can tell you, fuck off.
A lot of people forget that.
Yeah, people have looked at me weird when I've, it hasn't happened a lot, but a few times in my career so far, I've had a patient be really shitty, vulgar towards the staff, the respiratory therapist, the doctors, and I'll walk in the room. I don't care if my manager's watching. I don't care if supervisor, I don't care. I'll tell them, if you're going to be shitty to the staff here that's trying to take care of you, if you're going to act like this, you have 2 options. You can stop and let us do our job and help you, or you can sign this piece of paper and leave and go somewhere else. It's up to you. Most of the time they shut their mouth and stay. Sometimes they leave, and I'll have some backlash like, well, because profits, hospitals, we want people to stay, and I don't care. If you're going to be like that to the staff, leave.
Fair enough.
Preach.
Get out.
All right. And moving on. I love that little sound effect now. Love it. It's like my new favorite sound effect. It's not the fart, but hey.
That sounds like me trying to talk when I first wake up.
What about that Caleb video when you first wake up and people try to talk to you? PC Party Salami Puppet?
Yeah.
Huh? PC Puppet Parley Palami. Huh? PC Palame.
What's next on our
go.
on our thing to do?
We're a story.
Well, Carah's up next, but before we get to that, Carah, since you recently had your birthday stream, your 24-hour, birthday live stream, would you like to tell us about it? Like, how was your experience? How did you get through the time? How did you how was it?
It surprisingly was not as bad as I thought it was. And that is mainly because I had someone with me for the entire 24 hours. I was lucky enough that one of my friends, who is also a streamer, so go follow her, Desassy812 on Twitch, she stayed up with me the entire 24 hours. No breaks, like other than the stretching breaks, but she did not leave. She sat in Discord with me the entire time. Even when she couldn't play a game with us, she stayed with me. After we scared the shit out of her and pacified, she stayed with me.
I can't feel if she's being like just completely genuine, or if this is kind of a stab at me too for falling asleep at like 5 a.m.
No. I honestly...
I said I was going to be back, but then I kind of like dozed off and I was like, oh.
No, I really did not expect anybody to stay up with me. And when I told her about me doing it, she was like, oh, I'll stay up with you. And so as long as I had one person, I knew I was going to be fine.
Hold up. When she said, I'll stay up with you, did you hear the razor blade cutting on the glass and then...
No.
I was just thinking when you had his head leaned over, I thought that's what it looked like he was doing.
And that's why we test esport players for uppers. Right there.
No, but it was really, really good. I had a lot of fun.
How much alcohol did you take? Yes.
I think she had
a lot of fun.
Red Bull.
There was during like the 4 a.m. to like 8 a.m. was kind of rough, and then like the midday was kind of rough. But all in all, it wasn't that bad. And then I ended up ending it at like 10:30, a little bit later. So I actually streamed like 25 hours.
25 hour stream.
Yeah. So I ended up staying a little bit longer because we were trying to watch something, and then I was not as tired as I thought I would be. Honestly, I had a lot of energy when I finished, and I actually ended up staying up till like 1:30 in the morning.
That's called being overtired.
And then finally at like midnight, I was like, all right, I'm starting to feel the delusional coming on.
It was great. Loopy.
Oh yeah. But no, it was a lot of fun. I had great games, so much fun. I would do it again. I would prepare a little bit better in terms of my child, but I would do it again.
Oh, I say kudos to you.
I couldn't do it.
Kudos, round of applause there, because I can tell you right now, I could not do it. I couldn't do it. Yeah. I don't think I have anyone who would stay up with me the whole time.
If I didn't have anybody, I would have fucked out. I can tell you right now.
Shifts?
Yeah, I think that was for like a future try stream was like, hey, let's do shifts. But even then I was like, it wouldn't be 24 hours.
No.
Have you seen Warner's? 6 hours? We have all seen Warner's when he's done. He just starts going down.
Starts slurring.
I love my naps, man.
So Warner's would have to go first.
I would have to go first.
I was actually, so I woke up on Friday at like 7:30. I did a few things, and then I came back and I took like a 2-hour nap, and then I was up until 1:30 a.m., what would be like Sunday morning. So I was up quite a while.
Wow.
And I would do it again.
Well, I can say, for the times I was able to stick around, tried to be there as long as I could. I'm usually a night owl, but even I need to close my eyes every now and then. It was definitely a great time. So, if you guys were there, you can, you know how much fun it is. And it
was really good. Carah promised to take us all to Chili's.
I did no such thing. Oh, I will also be dyeing my hair.
Oh yeah, you reached your.
What color was it again?
So I put a poll out the day after to see what people wanted, and so I can only dye the underneath part of my hair. Like I can't do my whole head because I work in an office. But
that sucks.
Red ended up winning. So hopefully within the next week, I will be bleaching the underneath and then dyeing it like bright red.
Whoop.
And I'm honestly really excited.
All right.
Well, hell yeah, girl. Go get it.
You definitely got to post some pictures. So if you guys are following us on social media or in the Discord server, which has actually been gaining a lot of traction
and
lately.
If you're not, what the fuck are you doing? Go follow us now.
Yeah. And you guys are missing out. We're going to be bringing back community and game nights. But before we get into that, let's roll into the real reason everybody's in this podcast. Carah's Corner of Weird. I already did my little rewind thing. So Carah, just take it away.
Well, all right. So I have two shorter ones today. Our first one is kind of relates to something we talked about tonight about being nice to your servers and stuff. So when Warner said that, I kind of giggled inside because I knew we were going to go into this. And both of them are in Florida, so have fun. Florida women upset over tomato thickness, throws Whopper, shouts racial slurs at the person.
Like the thickness of the cut of the tomato?
They have like a specific slicer where it's just a push slicer. The thickness is already set through the slicer, so they have no choice in anything of that.
Evidently, it pissed her off. And
I think she was angry before she went in there.
She's a sad, miserable lady.
She came in, a 77-year-old woman came in and ordered something from Burger King. Yeah.
God, she's just waiting for
This is why the generation before us sucks. I said it before. Their opinions don't matter anymore. Get out of here.
Hold up. We got some gems out there that are old.
Far and few between.
But we got some gems out there.
What happened with this lady?
So she orders a Whopper.
Did she get punched by the server?
No, she ordered a Whopper, and I guess she was not happy with how thick the tomato was, and so she walks up to the person who gave her order, and she starts complaining, and she's yelling at him, and the guy isn't helping her because, well, you're yelling at me, I'm not going to help you. And so she just keeps talking, and then she throws her sandwich at the employee, which then they call the cops, and she pretty much said that she did it because he wasn't helping her, and she was not happy, so she threw the burger. And I would have been pissed as hell if someone threw their Whopper at me, because one, that's a waste of food, fuck you, and two,
did he have his mouth open like trying to get a bite?
No, no, it doesn't say so I'm not sure. Possibly though.
Did management support this server?
Doesn't say anything about what management does. Nope.
Because you know how sometimes, like, even if it's unintentional or they're just trying to like do their best, sometimes management comes down on them anyways.
Yeah.
So I was just curious.
Yeah. But they were able to track her down.
Well, that's just shitty management.
Track her down? Like she left the building?
Yeah, like she threw the burger at her and called her a racial slur and walked out.
Well, technically throwing the burger is considered assault.
Mm-hmm. What was the husband doing this whole time?
Oh, I don't know.
Enjoying the burger?
He probably was embarrassed. He just was like...
He probably was enjoying his burger like, I married this bitch.
Yep. The police said that the evidence of prejudice enhances the misdemeanor battery charge to a felony charge.
Isn't it a hate crime if she said the slur?
Most likely. Doesn't...
Because he turned it racial, so now it's considered hate, right?
Yep. She just had the burger in her hand and she tossed it at her.
You would think in our day and age where it's so easy to just pull your phone out and record anything that happens, that people would be less likely to act out. But it seems like it doesn't stop anyone from just being an idiot.
It didn't slow it down or nothing like that. It's just people just don't give a shit. We've always never given a shit. Just, we angry.
But she was angry for she went in there.
Oh, yeah. Had to have been.
I wonder how happy her husband is right now.
Oh, God.
Oh, he's probably calling 911 right now. He's like, hey, is there a reward for my wife? Yeah, this is the bitch right
here. Yeah.
Well, so now we're going to leave Burger King and we're going over to Wendy's.
Oh, God. Servers can't catch a break, huh?
Nope, this one doesn't deal with servers. This one deals with the Jurassic Park, though. A hangry alligator chases customers through Florida Wendy's parking lot.
Yeah! Fuck yeah! That's what you get for going for Wendy's.
No. They have amazing spicy chicken nuggets. They're underrated.
I still talk shit about them.
So it says alligators can be aggressive during mating season, but they can also be testy when they're hangry for a cheeseburger.
Oh, cheeseburger!
Oh, wow, they went there.
Yep, that's what they said. The customers got more than what they ordered when they were chased through the parking lot by a 6-foot alligator. Which I would be terrified if a tiny alligator was chasing me, but a 6-foot alligator?
So were they leaving the store? Does it say if they were leaving or entering the store?
No, it doesn't say that they were leaving it or not. It just says that they were chasing it through. I'm assuming they had their food
on them, unless they were the food.
Probably both.
I mean, hey, have you smelled Wendy's? Sometimes you'll smell and be like, damn, that smells good.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that gator was not just going to get the Wendy's. If anyone didn't run, they were about to get a bite in the ankle.
Yeah, you said 6 foot?
Can I get a burger with the side of human?
Mm-hmm. Dude, gators are not slow, man. They can fucking run.
And
so you just run in zigzag to confuse them.
We don't have much information, but they do end it with no word from officials if the alligator was upset his order was taking too long or not.
Oh my God.
I love the people that write these articles. They just put like the lightest. You know, as long as nobody gets hurt, I like the little bit of humor, because you know with things that are like could be like very, very scary. Sometimes you just need that cheesy humor.
Sometimes I wonder if there's writers from The Onion writing these articles from Florida.
Oh,
I mean, they got photos of this gator, and this is a big gator. Like, I would not. No.
You have a picture of the gator?
Hold up.
Yeah, they have pictures.
Can you share it? Can you share the picture of the gator?
Share the picture of the gator.
I mean, you just said gator, and I'm not.
That looks tiny to me.
Oh.
There. That's a small gator.
Okay, but a gator's a gator.
That's a 6-foot gator still.
Look at that cop manhandling that gator. What the fuck? That's a small gator. This cop's like, okay, let's get you inside.
I'd like to point something out here. Yeah, I don't. And by the way, I don't.
Can we talk about the officer behind him? Going like, this is
but
good
they're
for
treating that gator better than they treat people that they arrest.
Oh.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, you know, sometimes people, even when they're restrained, they still throw fucking haymakers.
That gator's fighting them. I don't see any batons or beatdowns. Not so tough when it's a gator, huh? I'm just throwing it out there. Anyways,
my God.
Speaking of Florida fast food chains, did you guys hear about the McDonald's paying people $50 just to show up for an interview?
I'll just go for an interview. I don't need a job.
Yeah, because people don't want to work at McDonald's, and it's so bad in Florida area, in this one right here, that the owner is paying people $50 just to show up for an interview. Because they literally have no one working there. Or
you know, I don't know why that reminds me of this, but at the time, I didn't think of it this way. I just wanted to have a job so I had money because I was in high school. But I remember when I left my first job, I was working at Taco Casa. I don't know if they have those outside Texas, but it's like a different type of Taco Bell. I don't know. It's pretty good, but anyways, it was my first job. I was making $5.15, and I left them to go work. Yeah, I left them to go work at a coffee place across town that was paying me, and this story's gonna get good, I promise. That was paying me I think it was like $7. So I never caught on to this, but they were always paying me under the table. I never got checks. And I was a kid, right? Like, I didn't think about that. If someone did that now, I'd be like, what's the legal thing here? Like, what's going on here? Something's
As someone who works in a payroll company, yeah, it's illegal.
Yeah, well, they eventually fired me. The illegal company fired me because I don't like customers being rude to me or anyone else.
Or you spoke English too well, and they're like, we can't have you here.
I was like, again, like I do with nursing, I was like, well, if you don't like it, you can leave. So, yeah, I got fired. So, for me, the lowest point of that age was I went back to the same Taco Casa and asked for my job back. They gave me my job back, and they started me over from, I think I left at like $6.25, and they started me over to $5.15, and I was like, I'll take it. But the best part of this story is I found out several months later, and I only found this out because I was driving by, and I was like, where did that coffee shop go? And it was like a haircut place now or something. Like, they changed quick. And I found out through the news that they were actually running a cocaine ring.
Fuck yeah.
And
wow.
And they got
you
busted.
Want dark roast in the line?
I was like, well, guess it's because they fired me, because I might have been wrapped up in that.
Yeah. You've been a whole different person.
Dark roast in a line sounds pretty good right now.
I've been like, dude, I don't know anything about cocaine. I just work here, but they do pay me in cash, so I like that. And I'm like 15, so I don't know any better.
Are these new crisp $100 bills? Where'd you get it?
I did think their food had a special kick to them.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I don't know why, but every time I eat your sandwiches here, I'm always hyper. I always want to do work. Hey, can we get this going? Hey, hold up. Oh, let's get this going. Hold up. You want coffee? Nah, I'm good. I'll just take a sandwich.
I had no idea how to make coffee, so I had to read the instructions on how to make a coffee every single time. I never learned. This was before Starbucks was like, huge.
Ooh, who even drinks Starbucks here?
I do.
It's too expensive.
On the way to work.
It's not that good.
I get free coffee at work, so it's fine.
What I do is I ask for 3 shots of espresso with milk. So then it's like $2 and something cents. But it wakes me up. It's to the point, and then I can just go on my life.
I'm a caffeine addict, so like I'll be like, hey, let me get the nitro brew with 4 shots of espresso.
I'll stick with the free Keurig.
God, they do that? They'll do that?
They'll do that. And I'll tell you this.
You can't buy more than one nitro for yourself, but you can add shots to it?
Yeah, I add shots to it.
That makes no sense.
It's not that good. It doesn't keep me awake. I sleep like immediately.
Coffee does nothing to me.
Coffee wakes me up, but that shit just puts me to sleep. Like
coffee will keep me up for a few hours. Like it'll get me through my morning, which is the most important. Unless crazy shit happens, I have the most stuff to do between when I get there at 6:45 and
just staring at Itachi, just staring off into space. Like, how did we get to coffee?
Burger King, Wendy's,
McDonald's, coffee,
McDonald's, and then cocaine, coffee shop, first shop.
I'm just listening to him struggle to connect to try to retrace and connect the dots.
And I did. I retraced and full circle.
Welcome to the GC Chop Shop. That's what we do.
So if someone's paying you under the table, something's wrong.
It's illegal.
Ask for more money.
Ask for more money. If something's wrong,
they're paying you under the table. Money. Ask for more money,
and you won't go to the cops.
Well then,
that's a good enough stopping point as any.
How many missing people are going to be missing now because of us? Well, we last saw them working at the coffee shop.
Where'd they get that idea? Some podcast, GZ Chop, something like that?
Bunch of assholes.
But anyway, yeah, we are going to wrap up this episode.
This is a long one.
3 episodes, it was a rabbit hole that I didn't start, so that's been...
I already forgot what we were talking about.
Oh, of course you did.
Of course. But so if you guys are hearing this episode, it'll be Thursday, which means our $100 Amazon e-gift card giveaway actually will end for you guys tomorrow. If you're a Patreon, you're hearing this early,
we have the
so you still
winner
have a
right
couple
now,
days to
and
enter.
The winner is nobody. We lied about it. It's not real.
Don't listen to him. It's real. Don't take him seriously. So if you guys haven't signed up already, make sure you go and sign up.
Why are you telling people to sign up if it's going to end the day before this podcast airs?
Because they can still sign up.
They can still sign up. It ends on Friday. The show comes out, which is now for them Thursday.
What?
So you still have time. You still have time.
Okay. What is the time theory that we're talking about right now? What is this time we're talking about?
There's no theory. There's just time.
So are you saying if I go back to kill my grandpa, I won't actually go back and kill my grandpa?
We're done.
What?
We're done. I'm hitting the buzzer. We're done. If you guys love this episode, please think about checking us out on our Patreon page, patreon.com/the GZ Chop Shop. You'll be able to find it
and
in the description
want more
of this episode.
Quality streams and more quality podcasts and all that, please actually join the Patreon and help Itachi at least get a decent computer.
My computer is decent. It gets the job done.
Poor Itachi.
I'm trying, okay? I'm working with what I got. But yeah, make sure you check us out. Join us on Discord. Hit us up on Twitter. Don't be afraid to leave comments. And check out, if you do sign up and become a Patreon, you can check out our other podcast, GZ After Dark. We are going to be doing some Clubhouse ones. We're just trying to work out some days and times to go in there. The Clubhouse will definitely be definitely free form. I know Yuli and Warners would love that.
We're always freeform though.
Oh, no, like
we have
literally,
the outline,
you guys can just
go
in your prairie and do your thing. Graze about. Just let them loose. Anyway, you guys have been amazing. Thank you for hanging with us. Stay safe out there, and we will catch all you wonderful people on the next episode. Later.